Oh, go. Okay. Good evening. I'm Gail Palat, practitioner at North Hollywood Church of Religious Science. Welcome to all of you who have joined us in person or online with Zoom, Facebook Live, or YouTube Live. If you are one of our live streamers, please go to the chat and tell us where you are streaming from. For those of you who are here in person, please take a moment to ensure that your cell phones are off or silenced. Thank you. We begin our Wednesday evening service with a pre-service meditation. So I invite you to get still, close your eyes if you're comfortable. Allow yourself to simply notice your breathing and be present in this space. If your mind wanders, simply bring it back to this mantra: God's the love that I am. God is the love that I am. And I will bring us out of meditation in 10 minutes. Enjoy. Welcome to all of you who have joined us while our meditation was in progress. We're so glad to have you here with us either virtually or in person.
Welcome, everyone. We're going to begin our service right now by singing our opening chant, God is in this place, led by the talented Tina Meeks. God is in
love is in this place. God is in this place. God is in this holy place. God is in this place.
Love
is in this place. Love is in this place. Love is in this holy place. Love is in this place.
Joy.
Joy is in this place. Joy is in this place. Joy is in this holy place. Joy is in this place. God is in this place.
God is in this place. Please join me in prayer as I recognize Spirit, everywhere present, all-knowing, all-powerful, God, the good of which there is no opposite and no equal. God is love, peace, kindness, serenity, health. All that is good is God. And I absolutely know that there is nothing that can separate me from my Creator. I am an emanation of the divine, and I know this about myself. I know this about each and every one of you in this sanctuary, on Zoom, Facebook Live, wherever you are, you are not separated from God, you are one with God. And I know this for everybody, all beings everywhere. And I speak my word this evening for the service, knowing it is divinely guided. It is blessed. We are so blessed by our musicians, Sam and Tina. We are blessed by Adam, our sound and lighting person. We are blessed by our staff. We are blessed by all volunteers and everybody who puts this service on. This is a blessed service, and I absolutely know that Reverend Sydney is divinely guided by God, and her words are channels of God, and absolutely is in perfect order, perfect, whole, complete. And we are so blessed to hear her tonight as she speaks with love and light. And we hear everything we need to hear, we learn everything we need to learn, and everything is done with love and light. And I am so grateful to know this. And with a grateful heart, I release my word into the law of mind. And so it is, and together we say, Amen. Please join me in the Lord's Prayer. Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. Amen.
I, the Lord, of sea and sky. I have heard my people cry, all who dwell without a friend, my hand will save. I who make the stars of night, I will make their darkness bright. Who will bear my light to bend? Whom shall I send? Here I am, Lord. It is I, Lord. I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, where you lead me. I will hold you deeply in my heart. I, the Lord of snow and rain, I have borne my people's pain. I have wept for love of them. They turn away. I will break their hearts of stone, give them hearts for love alone. I will speak my word to them. Whom will I send? Here I am, Lord. It is I, Lord. I have heard you calling in the night. I will go, Lord, where you lead me. I will hold you deeply in my heart. I, the Lord of wind and flame, I will tend the poor and lame. I will set a feast for them. My hand will save. Finest bread I will provide, till their hearts be satisfied. I will give my life to them. Whom shall I send? Here I am, Lord. It is I, Lord. I have
there's an alchemy that happens with music that is unlike anything else. I can only speak for myself, but actually that's not true. I can speak for many people that I've worked with and I've counseled with and joined together in prayer and healing with. And there's an alchemy that takes place where what we just heard so perfectly distilled and allowed for me to own what I want to talk about tonight and more. And I'm so grateful, just so grateful. So thank you. Oh my God, and I've known that song for 1,000,000 years. And welcome. I am Reverend Sydney, and I'm so glad that you are here. I'm talking about Ernest Holmes tonight, but I'm talking about a lot more than that. I want to talk about the relevancy of this teaching, which wasn't what I was going to talk about before you started singing. My talk is Happy Birthday, Dr. Holmes, and wow, Adam, you are the bomb. You nailed it. It's just perfect. So Dr. Holmes, who is our founder of this teaching, our dean and founder, as we've always heard, was a powerful, powerful, brilliant man who came from a very simple beginning. What I want to tell you about this birthday message, by the way, is that for those of you who are in the room, we have birthday cupcakes for you outside and some gluten-free cake for those of you who choose the gluten-free. For those of you at home, DoorDash? I don't know. You might have to send out unless you've got Twinkies in the larder, but so my thought was sometimes we have to go back to basics to really understand why something pulls at our hearts. And for me, I go back to basics a lot with this teaching because it reminds me of why I am so deeply drawn to it. I know that this is true for the students that I work with. It's true for our practitioners. It's true for ministers. And the thing is, if you haven't been here very much, you're new to this teaching, and you do hear us talking about this guy, Ernest Holmes, you might want to know why and what it is that why we value him. I want to say that we don't value him or what he did in a cultish way at all. You know, this isn't like the L. Ron Hubbard of anything. Yeah, I'm going to get some emails. Fine. I'm good with that. But Ernest Holmes was born in a small farm, on a small farm near Lincoln, Maine in 1887, which I really I was tickled when I found that out. I had to go back and review a lot of this stuff. That's the same year that my maternal grandfather was born. And I thought, well, that's kind of cool. There's a nice little connection. He was the youngest of 9 sons. 9! And his mother, how she had time to do this, I'll never know. She was a teacher. But 9 sons, holy cow. And his father was a self-educated farmer. He wasn't a very successful farmer. They moved around a lot, and they went through a lot of poverty. But the thing about this, now he grew up they attended a Baptist church. It wasn't a typical Baptist church. And also the way in which Ernest's parents and his family brought religion, brought spirituality into their home was that they would not allow or tolerate the teaching of fear as part of religion. Right? Exactly, I know. # no fear. Fortunately, I was brought up by a mother who refused to have fear taught in her family, he said. New England theologically was pretty strict, but she was a wise woman, and she determined we should never be taught there was anything to be afraid of. Oh, wow. I love reading these words, and I thrill to them over and over. You know, as a teenager, Ernest was widely known as the eternal question mark. Isn't that wonderful? I didn't know that. And I've known a lot about him, but that one I had not ever noticed. He was curious about everything and asked innumerable questions. From the beginning, he said, I was a nonconformist, asking so many questions I drove my relatives crazy. Well, how about that? Ernest was like my son when he was 3. Why? In 1907, while visiting one of his brothers at Yale, he happened upon Emerson's essays, which changed everything for him. He so resonated with that. He read the book thoroughly over the next 2 days, and as it was written, a light came on for him. Another brother, Fenwick Holmes, who had his own church in Santa Monica for a long time, wrote of it later, it was at that moment that life really began for Ernest. He had entered the foreground of the idea. So he became known as an expert on Emerson. He just was so connected and so resonated with everything that Emerson talked about and wrote about. And he said, it was like drinking water to me. It was like drinking water. And he said, reading Emerson for the first time gave me a realization that in a certain sense, every man, bear in mind, this is 1907, okay? So the languaging is going to be absolutely sexist, so just accept it and don't send me emails about that. In a certain sense, every man has to interpret the universe in terms of his own thinking and personal relationships, and that in order to do that, he has to have faith and confidence in his own interpretation. So that is a big part of why we gather into this. We want to be able to, we are independent thinkers. We don't do well as lemmings following one idea and not being allowed to question, not being allowed to question authority and to doubt or to pick and choose what works for us. Heaven forbid we should do that, and yet that's exactly what we do. Because that's what spirituality, true spirituality is about, is looking at what resonates, what works, and allowing that to be what nurtures, nourishes, and fertilizes the dreams, the intelligence, the wisdom, the instincts, the seeds that you have within your very own soul. And so from Emerson, he embodied 3 ideas. We are our own spiritual authority. There is a godlike essence in every person. And the third one, there is some kind of connection between our thoughts and what happens to us. So this is such a powerful idea that our thoughts have something to do with our lives. And it sounds radical, except that's exactly what the teaching of Buddha, of the Tao, of Jesus, all of these ideas, all of these philosophies and these paths, that's exactly what the idea is. That there is a correlation. It's not just a random experience of walking along and suddenly, boom, life changes, because that's not how life works. It may seem to be like that. It may seem to be like that. How many times do we walk along in our lives and suddenly it feels like a Monty Python foot comes down from the heavens and goes and flattens everything that we know about? And yet that is where we have the opportunity to open up into something new, to birth a greater idea, a new possibility. It looks often to us that there is a catastrophe going on. But what I know and what I have said to my students time after time after time is that we break down in order to break through, because that's what gets our attention. We have to break down in order to break through. And I see this in our society now. Paradigms are coming apart. We've been looking at this for years. Old ideas of being, old ideas of resonating with each other, of relating to each other, whether it be about politics or sex or gender or relationships or human nature or equity or justice or racism or LGBTQ rights, all of that stuff, all of the ideas that we have held for so long, thinking that this is the framework, that this is how the world is. Guess what? We all get to grow. We all get to expand. We all get to change. And we all get to accept that not everybody is going to agree with us. We all get to accept that our ideas have value, that we have value, and that Our hearts matter. And in the midst of, I don't even know where I'm going to go with this, so just hang on. But in the midst of 40 mass shootings in America since the beginning of this year, we have choices to make about how we are going to dive into our own spiritual natures and hold space for other people who don't agree with us, do agree with us, suffer, aren't suffering, love or hate, whatever it is that they're going through. But we have to create a bigger space within us in order to recognize that we've got to change, we've got to grow. And the big thing that I take away from so much of what Ernest Holmes talked about is that as we look out into the world, our own worlds, and see what is working and what isn't, the idea is that it reflects back to us what we need to heal within ourselves. I want us all to consider taking ownership of the violence in the world so that we might heal it within ourselves. Take ownership, take responsibility, be accountable. I know that no one here had anything to do with the 40 mass shootings that have happened in our country since January 1st. But what I do know is that the violence that we have within us, even those random instances of hate when we're driving in traffic and somebody cuts us off, or a family member does something that is just so unbelievably stupid, in our opinion, those moments of, geez, how could that happen? How could that guy do that? How could he say that? How could this happen? Blah, 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 the yammer, 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 yammer. That in that is where we need to take responsibility. And I'm not saying deny that we have this going on, but how about diffuse? Because that which we don't acknowledge, that which we don't recognize, absolutely still informs us. It's just unacknowledged now. It's just unacknowledged. But if we can acknowledge those patterns of belief, those patterns of thought, those tendencies, those habits of thought, to go into that place of judgment, of darkness, of hate, of separation, of stirring the pot of anger. If we can begin to acknowledge that we do that, it's in that recognition that we begin to take the power out of it. It's the same thing, you know, with this teaching, in that it's based on two fundamental, simple ideas. God is all there is. God is all there is. And it is done unto us as we believe. Now, I know that the first question you have is, well, if God is all there is, how do we explain 40 mass shootings in this country? How do we do that? Because we do have the free will to behave in ways that don't feel loving, feel insane and crazy, and yet all of us have those little pockets of anger, of violence, of mistrust, of self-loathing. And that's the one right there. It's that self-loathing, that lack of value that we assign ourselves, that we allow ourselves, and that we cultivate and nurture within ourselves. That's what brings about those events. So looking at that which we believe about who and what we are begins to express in this outer world, in this outer realm. Can we begin to look at who and what we are as the divine truth of who and what we are? Not perhaps what somebody told us or a conclusion we drew when we were 5 years old with a teacher who criticized us, or a parent who left us. But to begin to redefine the truth according to how God has created us. So, Ernest said this: if we do not like our outer circumstances, conditions, or our personality, the place to begin to change is right within our own mind. And he believed that this is the basis of healing in all areas of one's life. Right here. We have the power to change this. We have the power to heal it. Here I am, Lord. Here I am, Lord. Lord, by the way, metaphysically is another word for law, spiritual law. So that song, in another sense, is surrendering to the greater presence within. It is about surrendering to the greater truth and saying, presence, God, love, here I am. I am ready to transform. I am ready to be thy vehicle, thy channel for love, for good, for healing, and to know a greater possibility for myself and for the world. I was listening to one of my favorite teachers today. His name is Galen McDowell, and I steal liberally from him. And he knows it. He's in Chicago at the Johnny Coleman Institute. And I take classes with him. I've got another one that started today. And he said, you know, in New Thought, where we are, there's this, he said, the way I look at it is, for many, many years, it's like it was New Thought 1.0. And that's it's all about me, it's all about me, it's the getting, it's the, and it really is, because we do heal that stuff within us in order that we might create better lives that are more enriched, that are happier and healthy. How about health? But the thing is, there's also New Thought 2.0. 2.0 is that place of service. It's that place of not just focusing on how is this lifting me up, but how do I lift others up as I am going up as well. So it's not about get up there and then reach down. It's okay, well, I'm walking up, I'm heading up here. Anybody want to join me? Okay, come on, I can help you. Come on, let's go. Let's do this together. It's that service-minded thing, right? And that's where our healing comes about. I like what he said. God is good from the start. You don't have to win any presence or power over or convince anyone. God is already convinced. The answer to the prayer is not out there somewhere. It's in the mental attitude of the one who prays. We always assume the goodness of God as the starting point. So the fundamental basis of this teaching is that it works. And if it didn't, we would have nothing to hang our hats on. It works. It works if you work it. That's what Johnny Coleman used to say. I know it's something familiar if you've ever attended a 12-step meeting, but that's the principle. It works if you work it, and it doesn't work from the outside in, it works from the inside out, because what we are doing is actually allowing the truth of who we are to so fill us, and as we contemplate it, to so fill us and to cleanse us of the beliefs of our unworthiness, of our separation from God, of our separation from each other. This is what we seek to do. And so this teaching is this, it's not aspirational so that we know we always are going to have a new car. It's affirmational so that we know that we can always step into this world knowing a greater light and knowing a greater truth. So Emerson, or rather Ernest, pulled from both religion and philosophy. And he pulled from Plato, Plotinus, Socrates, Swedenborg, Emerson, Buddha, Jesus, the Tao, Islam, Judaism, and from everything he could find that affirmed what he knew to be true in his heart. It's the same thing, actually, that Charles Fillmore and Myrtle Fillmore did as they co-founded Unity. And the idea was that there is this presence within us that is absolutely, undeniably, unassailably never broken. It is perfect. It is the truth of who we are. But there's a lot of stuff that we go through, and we pick up a lot of stuff, right? You know, I've talked about this before. It's that thing we have to go through, and now the word is going to jump around and try to be elusive for me. What is it when you go and you get a facial and they rub all the stuff off you? Exfoliation, spiritual exfoliation. Thank you. There's an exfoliation that takes place. And it's actually from the inside of our soul, right? It's not so much the outside, because that we can bathe off. We can exfoliate it off. But it is the cleansing of our perception, those filters, so that what we are seeing is the truth of who we are. We're seen from the filter that is God. We're seen from the lens of God, not from the lens of the world, the lens of fear, the lens of unworthiness. Because what we do is we don't see things as they are, we see things as we are. Yeah, we see things as we are. And have you noticed that there are some days things seem to be a lot worse because you're feeling a lot worse? So there's this thing that we do called prayer. And our form of prayer is not begging, it's not beseeching. The idea is get off your knees and stand in the truth of who you are. Get up off your knees, stand in the truth of who you are. And Charles Fillmore wrote that prayer is the most highly accelerated mind action known. It steps up mental action until man's consciousness synchronizes with the Christ mind. And that is the truth of who we are, that light within us. Now, his background was as a Christian background. Charles Fillmore was born in 1850, no, probably around a little bit after Ernest was, around 1891, I think. So his was a very traditional American view or originally came from that view of Jesus the Christ, Jesus the teacher, but quickly became this idea of the Christ light. So what I'm trying to say is don't get hung up on the languaging. I know we're all used to this, our culture's view of Christianity now is quite different from what it was when Ernest was around, when the Fillmores were around, when Jesus was around. It's a lot different. So it is that this is the light within us. It is that God light, the Buddha light, that namaste. It is that Christ light. It is the truth of who we are. When we can begin to align with that and recognize it and cultivate it and contemplate it. See, that's the key right there. Even when we are so far away from knowing it, miles away from experiencing it, and absolutely there's no way that there's a part of us saying, here I am, Lord. It's more like, oh, forget it, Lord. I'm out of here. So, but the idea is if we can begin to contemplate that quality of life that is God, that quality of love, because that is where we come back to the truth. Prayer is communion between God and man. This communion takes place in the innermost part of our being. It is the only way to cleanse and perfect the consciousness and thus permanently, wait for it, heal the body. That's what we do here. We heal. We heal. We are a healing church. We are a healing center. This is a healing teaching. And in many ways, we have spent less energy over the last 30, 40 years throughout New Thought talking about the healings, the demonstrations as we call them. And I think it is a disservice because we heal. I can speak to that from personal experience. We heal. We heal. So this is the place to come for results. And that's exactly what Ernest Holmes taught. He said this is something that if it works, it's repeatable. It's repeatable. If this pattern of prayer reveals that pattern of perfection within so that it heals the body, it's repeatable. And that's what we look at and what we hold to, because this idea is that prayer is more than supplication. It's an affirmation of the truth that already eternally exists, but which has not yet come into consciousness. Has not yet come into consciousness. It comes into consciousness not by supplication, but by affirmation. Because it is by affirmation that we come up to that high level of mental activity, that vibration of God. It is by affirmation that we are now vibrating at the speed of God, which is a lot better than this place down on our knees of supplicating and saying, what do I have to sacrifice? How much suffering do I have to go through? How much struggle? How much self-hatred and self-loathing do I have to experience in order to prove to God that I'm worth it? That's baloney. and it's ridiculous, and it's harmful. We know that God, and we agree that God is both source and substance. Source and substance. We talked about this last night in our class. And this is where it all comes together, by the way. It's in the classes. And like I said, I'm still taking classes because I need that. And I want to encourage, if you haven't taken classes, oh my goodness, this is more than just dip your toe in the pool for an hour on Sunday, an hour on Wednesday, and then come back and dip the other toe in the pool. It is so that you can swim in that spiritual water, so that you can be in it, immersed in it, absolutely saturated. That's what we do, and I have no idea where I was going with that thought. Source and substance. So we were talking about the fact that it's all energy. It's all the energy of the divine. It's the energy of God. It's all God. It's all God. It's all God. Matter, tangible, this coat, this candle, this thing here, the podium, this is all God. It is the energy of God, the energy, the infinite energy of the divine, or whatever you want to call it, slowed down so that we can see it. It's just not traveling at that high level of unseen energy, invisible action, invisible activity, invisible belief. It is slowed down enough so that you can see it. It becomes matter. But God is both source and substance. That's what that means. That up here in the realm of the ideas, and it's not a geographic up here, but when we are in a higher frame of mind, we don't see it, but the energy is just absolutely spinning and it is that high mental activity, is the highest activity. That's the level of God. But then as it comes into and works through our soul, through our subjective, our conscious, our unconscious. It is the medium where all of this begins to percolate and take shape and take form. And then it slows down and becomes that manifest expression of the healing, of the abundance, of the right job, of the right expression, the right relationship, of the right home, of whatever it is. It is God expressing as that thing, as that idea, as that dream. So that's where we go with there's no separation. There's no separation. No separation between us and God. We are the expression of God. We are God expressing. Everything we desire happens through us, not to us. That's why we say if there is a dream that is calling to you, then know that everything necessary for the expression of that dream is already contained within it. It is already contained within it because there's no difference between the dream, the idea, and the dream realized. It's just the difference in the speed of the energy. And that we seek to have God demonstrate through us as that thing, as that idea, as that piano, as those pictures, as this building, as each other, as our wholeness, as our healing. That's what we are seeking to express. And what it means is that we begin to acknowledge it's already within us and that we say yes to it. We say yes. And there's one other idea I want to talk about, and then we're going to go into a healing prayer. God does not call the qualified. God qualifies the called. If there is this thing that you want, be it money, be it healing, be it relationship, be it mental well-being, whatever it is, know that you do not show up to that experience already formed, perfectly ready to go and, okay, God, I'm here. I'm ready for my $1 million. I'm ready for my perfect relationship. I'm ready for my brilliant career. That's not how it works. That dream is rooted within us. And it is a sacred, holy, divine dream. And if it's there, it is yours. And everything you need is there with it. So if the dream, and we talked about this in class last night, if the dream is to become a concert violinist, When you're 3 years old, 5 years old, 7 years old, trust me, you are not going to sound like a concert violinist, right? You have to be qualified. It's the same thing with our healings. It's the same thing with our spiritual awareness. It's the same thing with our money. It's the same thing with every aspect of life, that the moment we name it and claim it, the law of cause and effect says, okay, absolutely, I want to raise you up to that vibrational level, so you will vibrate at the speed of God, so that you will become that which is equal to your demonstration, so that you will become the consciousness of that. When we did our white stones a few weeks back, and the word that came for me was order. Order. Order is heaven's first law, according to St. Augustine. Everything that has happened since then was an expression of my life where I do not have order. You hear what I'm saying? The desire to have something means that you will be qualified, you will be chemicalized, so that if that's what it is, and you agree and you say yes to it, then everything that is unlike that God experience is going to show up, so it can be healed, so it can be transformed, so that I can create that order in my life, that this word came to me, that is my talisman for the year. That is my guidance, is order. And believe me, my life is not there yet. I can look around and see that pile, that pile, that pile, that pile, those things have been there, and now it's time to deal. So that idea, that beloved idea that comes to you, as Course in Miracles says, love is about revealing everything unlike itself. So if your desire is to be more loving, you will begin to see those areas of life where you need to heal around the idea of love. If your idea is to be prosperous, you will start to see those areas of your life where you need to get your finances in order, and your thoughts about being worthy and valued and able and sourced by an infinite source, right? So everything unlike it will begin to percolate and come up. But that's what we call chemicalization. You are not alone. That's why you go to a practitioner for prayer and to understand what's going on, so that that practitioner can hold you in the highest knowing that you are already there, in here, already there. You are going through that elevation process, and you will be flying. Because when we give God voice, God gives us wings. So let's pray. All right. Okay. Whatever the idea, whatever the thought, we set everything aside right now so that we might focus fully and solely on the recognition that God is all there is. God is all there is. In the beginning, God. Alpha, Omega, God. Only God, only good, only God, only good. God, the good, omnipotent, flowing in, as, and through all creation, seen and unseen. It is the divine order. It is that substance and source. It is that pattern of perfection that keeps the planets in their orbits, that absolutely calls to each and every one of us to rise up in wholeness, be it wholeness in love, wholeness in health, wholeness in our money, our vocations, our relationships. It is that same yearning to create and to celebrate in order and harmony the love that is God. It will not be denied, not by me, not by you. So as we recognize that God is all there is, I speak my word now for anyone who is being called to move into a greater level of wholeness, of healing, no matter what that physical condition is showing up as. I know that the truth is that the wholeness of God is at residence within each of us. And it will not be denied that it is right here and right now expressing fully as radiant good, as radiant wholeness, radiant health, every cell, every tissue, every atom, every fiber, every bone, every skin cell, everything going on in that physical body is now absolutely reflecting that capital T truth that God is all there is. And in that is wisdom. In that is comfort. There rises from that understanding and peace. And if there is something to release around this idea of perfect health, I know for each of us that we do so. We release it easily. It is gone in the light of God, gone in the light of wholeness. If forgiveness is the call, then we do so because we know that that forgiving now creates space available for God to celebrate as wholeness and health. And if that need is for financial abundance, for clarity, for order, for celebration, and the highest level of knowing that we are fully sourced, fully supplied by the infinite itself, I know that that is taking place now because we think from the mind of God. We don't think from our own minds. We think from the mind of God, and we allow that thought to be at residence within us, that right where we are fully sourced, fully supplied because God is all there is. And each and every one of us, we are worthy of that supply, worthy of that source because we are God in form. There is no separation between creator and created. Therefore, everything that is true about God is true about each and every one of us. In the realm of finance, in the realm of clear thinking, in the realm of intelligence, in the realm of relationship, in the realm of love, there can be no other way. Any thought that has appeared to stand in the way of that is simply a thought, and it dissolves. It dissolves, it dissolves, it dissolves, and it is done. So whatever that situation may be, in our lives, we know that the truth of God is greater. The presence of God is greater. That what thought has done, thought can undo. And we go to the truth that right where we are, God is and all is well. Right where I am, God is and all is well. That there is one life. That life is God. That life is perfect. And that life is the life of this entire universe, this entire planet, right here and right now. So we know for those who are in the midst of trying to understand what might look like so much confusion around life and guns, whatever that fear is, we know for them that love is greater than that and dissolves it. We are willing to look within ourselves and heal whatever that separation is. And we do it now, because now is the time we have to do it. Whatever it is, we do it now. So we bless this church. We bless all churches everywhere, all temples, all mosques, all synagogues, all ashrams, all paths to God, surrounding each one in the divine knowing of peace, of love, of the presence of God, which will not be denied, and is the truth. It is fully the truth. That 1, 1, 1. We declare it to be so. We allow it to be so. We don't settle for anything other than God. For that is how we have been created, with the spirit and the soul of boldness, of power, of wisdom. We are not worms of the dust. We are God, made in the image and likeness. So we know that from the deepest level of our being, and we live as that now. We recognize it for ourselves and everyone else around us as we live in this circle, this planet. This beautiful planet, we declare it is love. So I release this word gratefully into law. I make that demand. And I say now, here and now, here and now, here and now, here and now. We make the demand and we say, yep, Got it. And so it is. And together we say, Amen.
I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle and no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. I release and I let go. I let the Spirit run my life, and my heart is open wide. Yes, I'm only here for God. No more struggle and no more strife. With my faith, I see the light. I am free in the Spirit. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yes, I'm only here for God. Yeah.
Yeah. There's something that happens. I just want to say there's an alchemy. Another part of that alchemy is when you are going through stuff, when we do that praying and we process and all that, standing up and moving and dancing is what moves it through your body and allows you to resonate on every level, because we are not just mind. We are bodies. So I just want to invite you, dance when you're at home. Dance when you pray. It's good. It feels good, and it helps with the healing. So right now is when we invite you to give us your tithes, your love offerings, and if you would be so kind as to take that generous gift that you have and to hold it in your hand to your heart and say with me, from the love of pure spirit within me, I bless this gift. I send it forth to heal and bless and prosper. It is evidence of my faith and belief. It does good work in the world and returns to me multiplied abundantly. Amen.
Blessed always, blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Blessed always, for the arms of God surround us. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Let our joy be so triumphant that we rest in God and say amen. Rest in God and say
Oh my God. Wow. Wow is all I could say. God is in this room. Anyway, we'd like to thank Tina and Sam and our digital media team. Thank you so much. Oh my God. I don't have where we get your music, so please tell me so I could announce it. Anywhere? Get Tina's music on Spotify or iTunes. There's CDs in the bookstore, and it's Tina Meeks. Thank you. So here are our announcements for tonight. We make donations to our church through our text to give number, QR code, or through our website, nhcrs.org/give. Prayer with a practitioner is available after the service in person and on Zoom. So if you're on Facebook, go on Zoom and you could have prayer with a practitioner. Wednesday night healing service with Reverend Sidney Steen. Meditation is at 6:50 p.m. and the service is at 7 p.m. That's next Wednesday. Reverend Sidney's topic next week is Stop Playing Hide and Seek with God. Ooh. Elder Wisdom Group. This group, facilitated by Reverend Tricia Klink and Dina Bagley, meets next Wednesday, February 1st in the junior church from 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., and please join us. Our youth and family ministry supports kids from toddlers to teens. Sundays at 9:45 a.m. Please join us for that. Loving Outreach Ministry. We are collecting new and gently used, clean blankets, coats, and sweaters for the homeless. Drop your donations in the red bin on the patio that are there on Sunday. Bali trip with Dr. Mark Vieira in 2023. Dr. Mark is taking a group to Bali September 5th through the 15th, 2023. An information brochure and sacred covenant can be found on our website or Sunday on the patio. Zoom virtual patio, before and after Sunday and Wednesday services. So if you're on Zoom, you could ask to go on the virtual patio and you'll be joined with other people. Zoom meditation, every morning, Monday through Saturday from 7:55 through 8:15 a.m. And you can get the website on you get the Zoom number on our website. Visit our website, nhcrs.org, to obtain Zoom links and more info about our events and to sign up for weekly e-blasts and monthly newsletters. Thank you.
So before we go, would you, there we go. Why don't you repeat after me? I am at home in the heart of God. My life is anchored in truth. I can never be separate. I live in the consciousness of peace. I release all fear. I am living love. All right, that's good.
Hey, why don't we all stand and sing Blessed Always one more time with the wonderful Tina leading us.
Blessed always. Blessed always.